There's that famous saying in the film Matrix. It gets used a lot, where Morpheus says to Neo, "What is real?" And what is real? So if you are a practitioner of the single eye, if you meditate and you experience the moment where you are caught up, which is the rapture, by the way, and then you experience the real, and then you come back to the unreal. And the more you experience it, the more your unreal unravels. And anything that is not based in truth will be torn down, removed, exposed. Everything. And the more awake you are, the more conscious you are of these processes which are happening right now on a global scale. Things are being dismantled. But then you'll recognize it not just at a macrocosmic level, but you'll recognize it in the microcosmic, which is how you perceive your real. Many people will be a victim of circumstance. But you don't have to take that stance. You can recognize things as they are, as they truly are, as they become exposed. And when things become exposed, then you have to, is it worth saving? How long do you want to prop up the corpse? Now this can manifest in so many different ways. And it ties in with belief systems. If you believe a story or a particular, if you believe a narrative that's external to you, and then all of a sudden that external narrative is exposed as nonsensical, that can be painful. But that's the ego, because it's being slowly exposed, and the ego will attempt to limit the damage. But that's a foolish thing to do, because what's seen cannot be unseen. And when you recognize something as damaged, toxic, now at that moment it might, if your belief systems are being challenged, that will feel bad. And that's the cognitive dissonance. The mind is saying one thing and the spirit is saying another. So it is the manifestation of wars in high places. Nothing happens anywhere else. It all happens in here. And it's how we deal with what's happening in here that affects what's going on out there. Cause and effect. Everything's cause and effect. And nature, the real, will show you, will teach you. And those things that that people believe in, that they cling to, will be exposed as lies, and it will bite them on the arse hard. And people can ignore it. But you'll keep getting bitten. And the only true course of action is to cut away what's not real. So what isn't real? Belief systems are not real. It's just a belief. Some people believe that Donald Trump was good. The other half of the country believe Joe Biden is good. And you can put both parties in a room to reason it out. And there won't be any reasoning. It'll just be war. Verbal war, perhaps, but it's war nevertheless. Now, the wise people in the room won't say anything. They'll just watch the debacle. They'll walk away from it, recognizing that neither is real. The red pill or the blue pill. Fuck that. You stick your pills up your ass. To be no-pilled. To just observe what's put in front of you. And to chew the cud like a clean animal and part the hoof. To make decisions based on that. Without judgment. Without judging a situation. And walk away from it. The mind judges everything. Oh, this is good. Oh, I love this. But that's the same as saying, oh, that's shit, that's wank. I was asked about being selfish in an email from June a couple of weeks ago, which I replied to. And there's nothing wrong with being selfish. Now, if you're trying to, well, first and foremost, the ego is a tool. And it's to allow you to operate in this reality. But the ego must be a servant, not a master. Because as a master, it will always make you feel bad. Ultimately. You might feel good about something and then you'll feel guilty about it. Such is the way of the mind. But to be selfish means to serve yourself before others. And listen to the words I'm using. To serve yourself before others. Love your neighbour as you love yourself. Now this means more to the enlightened individuals because they have the self in the house. And then you recognise that you'll love yourself and your neighbour, which is the ego. And for all of its wrongdoing, its judgments and its vain mutterings, you'll also recognise that as life is dealing its hand, because we always reap what we sow. Always. If you sow bad fruit, you'll receive bad fruit. If you sow good fruit, you'll receive good fruit. That's the nature of the universe. It's completely impartial. It gives you what you deserve. People talk about the law of attraction, the laws of manifestation. Even without being conscious of these processes, you're always manifesting. It's what your thoughts do. But if your thoughts are not guided by the self, what's going to manifest? what's going to be put before you. Tests. You'll be tested. It's hard. But it's only hard because the mind gets in the way. And it might be an hour or a day or two as the mind is doing what the mind is wont to do. And then you'll rein it in. And then you'll do whatever needs to be done. Everything has to be based in truth. Jimmy is a good friend of mine. I've known Jimmy for, 30 years now. Jimmy watches these videos. And we used to serve together in the military. He was my boss. He was a good guy. Still is. And Jimmy sent me a video. It's from the YouTube site After School. And it's by Alan Watts. And he talks about the way to hell is paved with good intentions. And all too often, our minds pretend to be of good intent, and you try to do good by other people. But that's just virtue signalling. It's not virtuous. Opening a door for somebody is not virtuous. Helping an old lady crossing the street is not virtuous. Giving a poor person a pair of shoes is not virtuous. It's just the right thing to do. There's no virtue in that. You know, if you turn it around, stealing shoes off a poor person is just abhorrent. You just wouldn't entertain such a thing. Slamming a door in somebody's face, although amusing, isn't. Helping an old lady across the road, or not helping an old lady across the road. The way to hell is paved with good intentions. I intend to do this, I intend to do that. What good comes of it, really, in the grand scheme of things? As you're running around helping old ladies and barefooted tramps. 6 months down the line, he'll need another pair of shoes. So what have you achieved in the grand scheme of things? Helping the old lady across the road. She'll be there again tomorrow. Oh, but you helped her for that day. When was the last time you helped yourself? When was the last time you did the right thing by yourself? And it's hard to start doing that because this world has programmed you to look after the tribe, to be a team player, to look after society, to be a model citizen. Some would say, Danny, but your videos have helped me. No, they haven't. They haven't helped you at all. They've helped nobody. I can't do anything. Individuals help themselves. Don't they? So those of you that have stopped eating dead flesh, stopped taking drugs, was I there as you was lifting the pork to your mouth on a shaking fork? Did I suddenly pop up and say, no, did I fuck? Didn't do a damn thing. But you've helped yourself. You've deprived yourself because you love your neighbour. If you was on a life raft, which was only big enough, or say a plank of wood, and it was only one plank of wood keeping you afloat and out of the shark-infested waters, would you share it with somebody else? As somebody else was trying to get on your plank of wood, would they share it with you? No, of course they wouldn't. Because the instinct for survival would mean they would push you off the plank. You have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else. Are my videos for good intentions? No. Are they for bad intention? No. What is my intent? Just to tell the truth. So that others will recognize the truth and recognize what they have within them. And then they become radical and they make radical changes. And it's this kind of radicalism that society, culture and groups, it's always scared them. Because it tears at the very structure of groups, culture and society. Why do they spend so much time and effort making sure that you have enough distractions? Football, beer, circuses, politics, favourite this and favourite that, fashion, a miasma of shite to keep you in a spin. So you don't even get to see what's real because you're moving too fast. And then of course you can introduce the truth community. You won't find me in the truth community, I'll tell you why. Because it's a fucking community. It's groupthink. Oh, I can't say this or I can't say that. What will the group think? Fuck the group. Everything that's happening on the grand stage of life. And don't look at YouTube or TV to have, just to understand what's happening on the stage, which is out of your sight. But the things that are happening right in front of you, it's there for a reason. And it's there to help you grow. It's not there to make you small. It's there to make you grow. Growing's painful. Remember as a young kid when your bones were growing? You'd ache. Truth be told, your life is the greatest love story that has ever been written. And so few people can see it. So few people experience it. But the experience is within. That's where everything is. We spend so much time thinking about, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to deal with this? And eventually, a decision has been reached, and then you implement the decision. And if it's based in truth, you'll free yourself from any predicament. If it's based in lies, all you're doing is extending it. If you free yourself from a situation, there will be a period of grieving for a life lost. But then once that passes, you'll see the life gained. And we're all learning. But your teacher's within. That's the real. And everything outside you in the manifest reality is there, so that those that can see and those that can hear, they can experience the real. And they'll see the lies. They'll see the manipulation. And what's seen cannot be unseen. You can bury it. You can put makeup on it. It's still a pig in lipstick, just waiting to come back. Belief systems. How to stifle a mind. None of you liked school particularly, being told what to do, what to think, where to be, what to wear, how to speak, how to present yourself. And we all went through it. Probably just went along to get along, but there was always disdain or disgust. And you try to rebel against the system, then you get detentions in front of the headmaster. Bullied, coerced, manipulated. Then your parents get a letter from the school, then you get home and your parents are disappointed in you, and on it goes. There's no fucking escape. That's the system that the deaf and the blind have invented for themselves to entertain their myopic mind. Then you start to break out the system because you can hear a calling, a higher calling. You don't know what it is, and it causes confusion, that's part of the process. Satan, or confusion, is of Satan. Confusion is lower consciousness, not understanding, not seeing, not hearing. And then you'll have belief systems. And you'll start to propagate those belief systems, looking for somebody else to prop up your new ivory tower that you've built for yourself. Because you don't believe what they taught you in school. You now believe that the earth is flat, or concave, or any of those things. And they're just belief systems. So what if it is? So what if it isn't? I couldn't give a fuck. Because the truth is within me. And anything external to me is just a distraction. Some of the distractions I really like, I enjoy. Some of them I don't entertain too much. And I observe. But these people, they'll become militant about their belief systems, and they'll try and sell it to others. And they can be quite persuasive, quite enigmatic. And then they have a band of merry followers. They've just built their own religious paradigm that binds them all together. Yoked. It's not being free, is it? To be mentally free is to be able to entertain a multitude of ideas or belief systems, but attached to none of them. To be able to maintain two opposing arguments in your head and have no interest in the outcome of either argument. To be in the middle. To not judge. The problem with belief systems is that when you have a belief system and you've invested into it consciously or even unconsciously, to walk away from it, it's difficult because it will always be pulling you back, drawing you back into the circus. Who wants to be a clown? Who wants to fool themselves? When you've seen beyond the masks, when you can see through the masquerades, it becomes impossible to remain a part of it. But the mind will attempt to maintain the former illusion. But the higher part of you recognizes it's a lie and won't allow it. Enter cognitive dissonance. And who can overcome that? I can't. You can. It's something you have to do for yourself. So how do you do that? How do you overcome this raging duality? How do you separate the unreal from the real? You clean your house. Physically, you start eating good stuff, putting good stuff in, and then good stuff will come out. Psychologically, you'll cut off all the bad stuff. And meditation assists in that process as well. Meditation is looking into the mirror. The mirror, looking at your own, looking at the darkness in your own soul, looking for the light within you. And it takes time. And as the body gets cleaner and cleaner, that energy will rise. And the more you'll learn, the more will be revealed to you. It'll be given to you. It's a gift. Freely given. That's why I don't take any money for this, ever. Because it was freely given to me. So I give freely to anybody that will listen. All these distractions, like Mount Meru. Me are you, or if you do it, the backwards, it's your EM, your electromagnetic. That's the energy. The Indians call it the Pingala and the Ida, the Kundalini. In the Bible, it's referred to as the serpent. Jesus said, "Be ye wise as serpents and gentle as doves." So as wise as the Kundalini, the enlightened mind, gentle as a dove, using that electromagnetic energy within you, using your limbic system, emotion, energy in motion, moving it around the body. That's what it means. When you raise that energy, you'll see more, you'll hear more, you'll understand things intuitively, because your higher self, the neighbor, will teach you. When the student is ready, the master will appear. But too many people, as Jimmy identified when I was chatting with Jimmy a few weeks back, people want instant gratification. No, it's not how things work. For years you've lived in your church, errant thinking, eating the wrong stuff, going along with everybody else, going along to get along. It's okay. But you're waking up to that now. And as you're exploring the internet, chasing the white rabbit, head full of knowledge, and you're trying to tell everyone, and they're all looking at you like you're nuts. That's the beginning of the journey. And then you start recognizing that all these things that you've been learning, all these belief systems, it's causing you more harm than good. There is only the real and the unreal. The unreal is the fictions. The fictions of mankind's imagination. Things like the days of the week, the names, the labels we give everything. Our likes, our dislikes, our loves, our hates. It's all a fiction. And the real, that's consciousness. The awareness. And when you heighten that awareness, when you heighten that consciousness, your ability to perceive is greatly enhanced. And anything that's happening out there in fiction land, you turn within to discover more things about yourself. Loving yourself. And it's a journey. The truth reveals itself, the real reveals itself in waves. And your head, your mind is like the rock on the shore, and the waves, sometimes they gently lap against it. And everything's okay. And then there's a big wave that you never saw coming. Boom, smashes against the rock. And it's those waves, you don't see them coming. Those are the ones that are teaching you something. The little waves teach you stuff as well, but it's the big ones. And the more you become aware, the more the seas inside you, the sea is the emotions, they become calmer. Calmer, not calmer. But because it's becoming calmer within, it will be calmer outside. And the less shite you will sow, but you'll sow the good stuff, and then you'll reap the good stuff. And ultimately, it's all good. Evil has to exist for good to exist. Darkness has to exist for light to exist. When somebody recognizes that they are in the dark, when somebody recognizes that they are lost, they will go into the dark fearlessly, looking for the light. But if somebody doesn't recognize they're in the darkness, if somebody doesn't recognize they're lost, well, they haven't been called out, have they? It's very simple. And it's fair. It's hard, but it's fair. And there's a purpose to all of this. There's a purpose to everything. Humans, in their collective ignorance, created this illusion. And the universe, the Father, call it whatever you want, has had enough. The rule of mankind's intellect and the illusion of separation, that's ended. It's over. Now they're going to try and maintain it. Try to keep it going, just to eke it out a little bit longer. And they're going to use all sorts of distractions. COVID. Wars. Wouldn't surprise me if they did an alien invasion as well. Anything to keep people from discovering who they really are. Anything. They'll do anything to stop you from getting into touch with the real.